Hey guys, and welcome to today's tutorial. So today we're going to be discussing Wix. Now Wix is basically an online platform that allows you to build websites either from scratch or by using templates. Wix also allows you to share your website free without a yearly or monthly subscription. Now that does unfortunately come with Wix ads, but if you want to personalize your website even more, which includes getting your own domain name, you can pay the monthly subscription or yearly subscription. But for this example and for this brief, we're just going to be using free Wix. So if you go to wix.com, it asks you to get started. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click the Get Started button. Right, now I already have an account with Wix, so you're going to need to sign up first. So you're going to need to put in your email address and click sign up. Alright, so now that we've logged in, we're going to go through these first basic steps together. So what do you want to create a site for? So we're going to click myself. I want to create a site for myself. It should be, and we can select one of these. Let's select a portfolio and CV. And I've built sites professionally, created many websites, built new websites, never done this before. So you guys are going to click never done this before. All right, then it gives you two options. We're going to select create your own stunning website in the editor. Choose a template. Right, so we're going to be working in the template section. Now, although we have selected to do a website in the template section, we're not actually going to be using any of these templates. But feel free to browse through them, have a look at them, and see what's actually possible on Wix. Spend some time doing this because it's going to give you a good idea of what's possible, and you guys can maybe, before you actually start developing your website, have a notepad and pen by you and jot down some of the features that you like, and you can include them on your website. But for this assignment and this brief, we're going to go to blank templates, which is in your top right. And we're going to select start from scratch. Now, it's important, guys, that when you do this assignment that you start your website from scratch. If we note that any of you guys have used templates, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to mark the assignment. Now, when you arrive here, it's going to give you a little welcome to Wix Editor. I suggest that you guys watch this. It basically gives you a breakdown of the site. So it basically gives you a quick little walkthrough on what Wix does, how it works, and throughout your process, you'll get a couple of videos popping up that will assist you with your process. So definitely give that a watch. All right, so here we have our blank website. So when we look at this website, I want to just point out these guidelines that are here. Now, these are very important. These guidelines basically represent what in your website is going to be seen. So these two central vertical lines is basically where all your content is going to sit. If you think of the smallest version of a desktop, currently that would be an iPad. So when you open up your browser on an iPad, you don't open up mobile sites, you open up normal sites, normal websites like you would on a computer. But it is the smallest screen that is available. So your iPad screen will literally be this size. So when you guys are putting content in here, remember that anything that goes over this line won't be seen on any small devices, such as an iPad. However, you will see this space if you're using a computer screen, depending how big your browser screen is. So although we don't want to put important content in this outside area, we still want content to be there to make your page look good. We're going to get into that a little bit more later and how to actually do that successfully. But most important is to remember, keep your content inside these two guidelines. Let's look at our horizontal lines. So it's given us two horizontal lines here. The first horizontal line on top is basically representative of your header. So in your header, you'll find things like your logo and your menu bar. So when you go to a website, you usually find a menu bar at the top of the screen. That's where your menu bar will sit. Then this section over here that is defined by this bottom horizontal line is where your hero image is going to sit. Basically what your hero image is it's a term used to describe the main visual image that is on your landing page when someone gets to your website. So we're going to start with that. But before we get to actually adding content to the page, let's have a look at what our interface consists of. So let's start on the left-hand side here. This is basically all the elements that we need to create our website. Right, so now when we click on this button here, menus and pages, we basically get the ability to add pages. Now, for this specific website, we're not going to be adding any pages. We're going to have a full flow-through website. We will, however, have a menu, but the menu is basically going to guide the viewer throughout the page. So to basically explain that another way, we're going to have a website that's basically one page with all the different sections on that page that the viewer scrolls through without moving to another window. So we won't be adding any pages here, but for future reference, this is how you do it. Background. This is where you select the background for your entire website. I don't really like doing this because I like to sectionalize each section with a different background. But if you want to give your entire website a background, this is where you do it. And then probably the most important button here is your add button. Right, so when we click on that, we have a lot of different elements here that you guys can have a look through. I'm just going to whiz through them quickly. So this is how we add images. So whenever we add an image to your website, we can't drag and drop an image like we do on a lot of platforms. We have to go to My Image Uploads, and we have to drag the image into this section over here, which will be your gallery. Once we've done that, we can say Add to Page. Right, then we have Gallery. So this is a way for you to actually add images to your page. So if you want to have a gallery with some of your work or some images that you want to display, it basically gives you a whole catalog of ways to display images. Vector art. So the nice thing about Wix is it does give you a lot of freebies. Vector art is one of them. So you have icons available, and there are hundreds, guys. There are hundreds of different types of icons. And what's great about this is you can actually search what type of icon you want. So let's type in computer. There we have all the different computer icons that you guys can use. Let's type in fashion. And there you go. And they're all free. So that's really great. Animals and nature, logos and badges. And these are things you don't have to use them, guys, but they are there available for you to use. Right, then shapes. So these are just basic shapes that you can use for a bunch of different purposes. You have different vector shapes, you've got line shapes, horizontal lines, vertical lines, and all different variations of that as well. Interactive. So this is a really important part, and it's actually how we're going to start, is we're going to use these to sectionalize our website. And these are great because you can put a large variety of content in them. We'll get back to that in a second. Buttons, so these are important. We use buttons to allow the viewer to navigate through the website. So when you click on a button, it may take you to a different page, or it may take you to a different section of the website. The great thing about these buttons is you can also add links to them. So if you click on a button that says view my YouTube page, you can add a different link in there that takes the viewer to a different platform, your Instagram page, your Twitter page. Has a lot of options. You can also add a file to that button. So if you want to add a document that a viewer can download, that a user can download, you click on the button and it downloads whatever file. So basically you can say click here to download my portfolio, and you can download like that. Boxes, this is just shape options. Strips, we'll talk about strips in a second. Lists and grids. Video, if you guys want to add video to your website, this is how you do it. You can even add music to your website so that when someone arrives to your website, music plays. Social icons. These social icons you can of course easily link to all your socials. Contact forms. So if you want someone to contact you, which we are going to include in this website, you're going to use a contact form. This is how you find them. Now guys, you'll see here that it gives you a lot of different options of contact forms. They basically all do the same thing, but the design of them is different. But even when you click one of these and you bring them onto your website, you can design it even further. So when you look at these designs, you may think, oh, well, I love this purple, but I don't love how this button looks. Don't worry, you can change that when you bring it into your website. Or you might see this and you might think, oh, well, I love the shape of these boxes, but I don't like them white and I don't want this salmon color behind it. You can change that. You may look at this and say, oh, I love this exactly how it is, but I wish my boxes had rounded edges. You can easily change that as well. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. Right, then your menu bar. So this menu bar is what I was talking about that sits at the top here. Again, same thing. They've given you a whole lot of different designs, but you guys can manipulate those designs even further. Light boxes we're not going to be using. And yeah, there's a couple of more things down here, but we're not going to talk about that just yet. Alright, so that's the basis of it, guys. So let's start at the top of our website. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create our menu. We're going to create our hero image. We're going to learn how to apply text. And we're going to add a button. So let's start. So I'm going to go add. And I'm going to go to strip. No, I'm going to go to interactive. Now, to actually take an element and add it onto your page, it's very simple. You click, hold, and you drop like so. Now, like I mentioned before, you'll notice that all the content is inside these lines. And it's extended it to the edge of the page as well. All right. So, now that we've brought this in, as I mentioned before, everything is editable, guys. This whole thing can completely change. So I'm going to start by getting rid of these elements that I don't want. Now, how do we get rid of elements? Very easy. We click on them and we backspace. Click, backspace. Click, backspace. So that's how we delete what we don't want. Now, although Wix has actually placed this where it thinks it should go, if we want to extend it further, it's very easy. We can just grab the toggle at the bottom and we can increase the slider. Now, this hero image really can be as big as you want, but I wouldn't have it any smaller than the parameters that it allows. So here it's giving you that line to show you where it should go to, but feel free to make it a little bigger if you feel it's necessary. Now, I want to talk about this section at the top here. So we've got a couple of elements here. Here we have our backspace. So if we want to undo something that we've done, we just click that and you can see it moves us back. Don't Command Z on this, guys. I know it is habit for you, but if you do that, it's going to reload your page and you're going to lose work. So that's where you go back. You can also move forward to redo. Here's the save button. You guys don't have to worry too much about pressing the save button because Wix does it automatically every time you do a couple of edits. But if you've done something and you see that it hasn't saved, you can go ahead and you can click that. Then we have our preview. Now this is a very important button, guys. Our preview, if we click on it, basically shows you what the website is looking like so far. Now, as I mentioned before, you will have this Wix ad at the top for this assignment because we only have this gone once you've upgraded. Now, we can see what the site is actually doing. We can see what we've actually put in here is a slider. And you can see it's got these buttons here. And if you click, we have a slider. Click again, we have a slider. But this slider is obviously also automated. So if I don't do anything, it slides by itself. So now we can go back to our editor and we can change that if we want to change it. So at the top here, you guys can see it says slide 1 to 3. So this is where we can see what our slides actually look like. And we can also click on manage slides and then it gives you those 3 slides here. So this is slide 1 over there. We can also tell because it's got 3 little dots here. So the first dot is light gray, so we know we're on our first slide. Slide 2, we can see our slide is going to change to the second slide. And that is great because we're now on our second slide. And we can delete this text and delete this and this. And then we're going to go to slide 3 and delete this, this, and this. Okay, so now if you guys want this to be a slider, but you don't want it to be automated, you can go to one of these things over here. So here we've got your settings. So every time you see a cog, when you click on an element and you see a cog, that's where your settings are going to lie. So if we click on our settings, we can see that this autoplays on loading. That's why when we put it in preview, it was sliding. So we don't want that. There you go. We can also change how these elements slide into each other. So right now they're horizontal, but we can click vertical, and if we click preview, look what happens when we go to the next slide. It slides in vertically. Back to editor. Click on this, settings. We can do a crossfade. Preview. Click on your arrow, and we have a crossfade into the slides. All right, so that's how we can edit that. Now, what if you guys don't want this to be a slider? You just want it to be an image. Very easy. You go to manage slides, you click here, and we say delete. And we say delete. So now, if we preview, we've literally just got this one image that we can put content in. But now you're saying, well, we've got these arrows, and that's obviously going to be confusing. Back to editor, we go to layouts. And here we have show navigation arrows. So if I click this off, you'll see these navigation arrows disappear. Slide buttons. This is what's at the bottom. Don't show slide buttons. Now we just have our image as we want it. Okay, and this is how our hero image will be. Guys, if you want to make your hero image sliders, you're more than welcome to. But for this example, I'm just going to have a static image. I'm going to make it a little bit wider because it's feeling a little bit tight for me. And I'm now going to go to change slide background. So when we want to change a slide background, we've got options. We can make it into a color. So you guys can select a solid color just by clicking that. Then you can go to settings, and it gives you an opacity meter where you can change the opacity of it. We can click on image. When we click on image, it's going to take us to that gallery that I showed you guys earlier where you drag and drop images. So you can drag and drop any image that you want. So I'm going to show you an example of that now. So basically what I've done is I've created my images on Photoshop that I want for my hero image, and I've brought them into my site files, and I've just dragged and dropped them into this box. They've uploaded over here, and I'm going to go and select and say change background. Cool, so here we go. So here we can see we have our background, which is how we want it, looking very nice. And I'm going to just extend this slightly so that it's a little bit bigger. Now, what I want to do is I want to add my logo over here. So I'm going to go to add, and I'm going to go to images. I'm going to go my image uploads. I'm going to select the logo, and I'm going to say add to page. All right, then we have our logo, and we can easily resize just by toggling on the side. Place our logo where we want it, and you don't have to hold in shift because it does hold its proportions. Right, there's our logo. I'm just going to place this a little bit better over here. Let's move this up. Right, now we want to add some text. So I'm going to go to our add button. I'm going to go to text, and I'm going to say add heading. Click, drag, drop. Now obviously, just as before, by clicking on this, we can say edit text, and we can do anything we want to this text. So we have our fonts over here. These fonts are the fonts that are provided by Wix. They are all web-enabled fonts, so they work perfectly on web. Unfortunately, what Wix doesn't allow is for the addition of new fonts. So if you guys want a font that isn't included in Wix, what I suggest you guys do is you create the font in Photoshop. You type it how you want it, stylize it, and then you save it as a PNG. Then you bring that PNG into your image files and you drop it in as an image. So that's how I would get around that. But I actually want to use these fonts that are in Wix, so I won't have a problem. So I'm going to click Avena. I am going to click over here, and I'm going to type in Riverside. I'm going to select it. I'm going to redo that again in caps. Riverside. Select it. I'm going to make it white. And I'm going to change the font size. Go back here. Click away. And I'm going to place it where I want it, like so. Okay, so something like that. Just get it nice and in the center. Right, now we're going to add another text. I'm going to go add. I'm going to add a smaller heading. Doesn't really matter what you add because you're going to edit it anyway. Boutique hotel. I'm going to select this and I'm going to make it Avena Light. Then I'm going to go to my character and line spacing. I'm going to adjust my character spacing so that it's nice and wide. And then I'm going to drop my font size. And I'm going to make my text this gold. So how do we do that? Very easy. You can see obviously that color is not in our color palette. So all we do is we click this plus button or we select add color. And then you can see that we have hex code options here. So what you need to do is you need to go to Photoshop and you need to get that hex code. So I've already done that. So my hex code, I just Command V it. And click add. Now that color will sit in your color palette and it will be there as an easy sample for you to use throughout your website. Right, I'm going to click away and I'm just going to place this here and we can see that it's not reaching the full length that we want. So I'm going to go back and edit text, go back to character and spacing. I'm going to increase it a little bit more, like so. Great. Now we have it exactly how we want it. Okay, so I'm very happy with that. Now, we're going to add a little button, which is going to go underneath that. So we're going to go to button, and we're going to say add. Now, obviously, you can pick from any of these buttons, but I'm going to design it myself anyway. So I'm just going to drag and drop this button in here. And we have a lot of different options. So if we click on layout, we can see we have text alignment options in the button. Usually, you're going to have essential alignment in a button. Then we have design. So when we click on design, we can say it says customize design. So we're going to click on that. And we can do anything with this button. Now you can see we've got two options. We've got regular and hover. So that means that when the user hovers over the button, what is the button going to change to? To show the user that this is something that's clickable. So let's do regular first. I am going to make this gold. I am going to give it some slight corner. So I'm going to do a 5 pixel corner on this. I'm not going to add any shadow. And for the text, we're going to add Avena Light. Okay. And for our hover, we're going to have no color on the inside. Our border is going to be gold. And our text is going to be gold. Right. Then I'm going to drag this like so. Pop it over here. And by looking at this, I can see I'm not loving my rounded corners. They're too rounded. So I'm going to go customize design. I'm going to go back to corners. I'm going to make this 2. All right. That's nice. Let's make this smaller and thinner. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. Now, change text. So what do we want the button to say? Experience Riverside Luxury. I'm going to put it in small. Like so. Right, now if we go to preview, we can see how that's looking. And if we move our mouse over this, we can see what it's doing. Okay, so I'm not really liking what that hover is doing, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to Customize Design. I'm going to change my background, hover to white, and drop my opacity slightly. No. Right, now our button's working how we want it to. Back to editor. Alright, cool. So I'm quite happy with this. I just feel like everything can be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to select these two. I'm going to select this. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And we're going to make this a little bit bigger. And this takes a little bit of playing just to get it perfect. But that's about right. And we're going to bring this logo up. We're going to bring these two up. Right, now I'm quite happy with that. Now, let's look at our menu at the top. So I'm going to go Add. I'm going to go Menu. And I'm going to go ahead and pop a menu in there. Now, as you can see, when we drag it, it's going to give you the option to attach the header. So we definitely want to do that. I'm going to drop it in there. And right now, all we have is our home. Okay, now that's because we are only working from one page. We are going to have multiple sections of this page, however, and we're going to define them using what we refer to as anchors. So let's go ahead and add our anchors in. So I'm going to go Add. And we're going to go to More, and you'll see here we have anchors. What you do is you click, you drag, and you drop. And you can see there's an anchor. Adding anchors. Anchors are a great way to lead visitors to a section of your site. Link to an anchor from buttons, text, or more. So, our first anchor, we're going to rename. So by double clicking on it, we're going to say About. Alright, so this is going to be your About Me section. So now if we go here to our menu, we'll say Manage Menu, and we can say Add a link. Then we can click our anchor and we can select About Me. Done. Now you can see we had this new link here and we can rename it About Me. Done. Now you can see we've got two sections. We've got Home and we've got About Me. I'm going to delete the Home because we don't actually really need that. So I'm going to just press Hide, okay, because we don't need that. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add another anchor. Okay, I'm going to put it a little bit further down the page. This is going to be our bio. So let's go back up here, Manage Menu, add a link, and select our bio. Put it a little bit further down. Right, let's go Add. We'll add another anchor, drag and drop. And we'll call this anchor Portfolio. We'll go back up to our menu, Manage Menu. We'll add a link and we'll say Portfolio. Done. Then make sure you rename this Portfolio. Our portfolio. Done. I'm just going to rename this because I forgot. Rename our bio. And guys, these don't have to be what you call these sections. You can get really creative and name them anything. I'm going to add one more. And that's going to be your Contact Us. We'll go up here, Manage Menu, Add, Contact Us. Right, and there you go. So if I click on Preview, this is basically how it's looking. Now, obviously, we need to design it, but this is the idea. Right, so we've got about us, which is here. We've got our bio, which is here. We've got our portfolio, which is here. And then we just need to change this new link to contact us. Rename, contact us. Done. Now, they obviously need to be in the correct order. So we don't want the contact us first. We want the about us first. So we can easily manipulate that just by clicking and dragging it where we want it. So we want about us first. Then we want our bio after that. Then we want the portfolio after that. And then we want contact us. Cool. So if I press preview, this is how it's looking. So if I click on about us, it's going to drop down to that section. If I click our bio, it's going to drop down to that section. All right, so back to editor. So let's design this so it suits our website a bit more. So we're going to click on the paintbrush, which is our design. And we're going to click customize design. And here we've got three options. We've got regular. So this is how it looks when it's just sitting as it is. We're talking about the menu here. Then we have a hover option. So how does the section look when someone hovers their mouse over it? And then we have what does it look like when it's been clicked? Okay, so we're going to edit those now. So I'm going to go to regular. How does it look when it's regular? Right, so I want to make it no background. Okay, we want to go to text. I'm going to change the text to be our gold color. Nope, it's not working. So now I'm going to select a blue. So let's go to add color and let's select a nice navy blue that we want to use. So something like this, I think would be nice. Okay, that's probably still too dark, so let's go somewhere around here rather. Yeah, can even be a little bit more on the blue side. Okay, I'm happy with that. Right, so we select that, we select the fonts that we want. So we're going to go up to Avena and select. Then we are going to, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Maybe Avena Light, let's see. No, I quite like the normal Avena. Then let's look at what it's going to be when we hover over it. So when we hover over it, I'm again going to have no fill. And I'm just going to make the text our gold. And when it's clicked, we are going to have no hover. And it's also going to be, text is also going to be our gold. Right. I'm also going to Command C and Command V our logo. And we're going to pop our logo right here in the corner. It can be a little bit smaller, like so. I'm going to bring this to about there. We're going to put another button over here. And this button's going to say, contact us in smalls. It's important, guys, when you create buttons that you keep them consistent. All right, so that's how it's looking. I'm going to bring this a little bit more in just so it's a bit tighter, just so this has some breathing room. And we're going to go preview. And this is how it's looking. So when we hover over our menu, that's basically what it's going to do. And it's going to take us to those anchors that we've selected. Cool. Right. Now we can animate our components as well, guys. So let's look at how we want to animate anything on here. So let's click on our logo, and you guys can see that we have an animation button. So when we click on animation, it gives a whole lot of different things that our elements can do, which is really nice and adds a really nice element of creativity to your website. So there's a lot of different options here, and you guys can play with them They can also be manipulated. So for this, I'm just going to do an expand in on that over there. And on our boutique hotel, I'm going to do also an animation. We'll probably do, let's see, reveal is quite nice. So let's see how that's looking. Preview. Okay, now look what happens when I preview. We can see that both animations are happening at the same time. I don't want that. I want the logo to come up first and then the boutique hotel to come up afterwards. So I'm going to click on boutique hotel, click on animated, and press customize. Now you can see it gives you options here. How long do you want the animation to be, and what do you want the delay to be? So we know that our logo is coming up immediately. So we're going to push our delay to about 2.5 seconds, right? Preview. Logo comes up, and then boutique hotel now comes up. So that's important. You don't want all your animations happening at the same time. You want the viewer to have a minute to actually look at what's happening and really take it all in. All right, so let's go back. Okay, so I'm really happy with how that's looking. I'm ready to move on to my second section, which is about us. So I'm going to go add, and I'm now going to go to a strip, and I'm going to add by just dragging and dropping in my strip. Okay, so I'm going to make this the same thickness as my top one, just so that it doesn't over-dominate. And we can see this strip is made up of two columns. So this is a section here, and this is a section here. So if we want to manage those columns, we can select Manage Columns, and we can pretty much do anything we want with this. For now, I want my picture to be on the right-hand side. So all we do is we just click that button over there, and it shifts things over. Okay, so we can shift it opposites, basically reversing the sections. And we can edit these sections differently. For me, I'm going to have an image in this section, and I'm going to have text in this section. For now, I'm just going to remove all of this. And again, guys, this gives you guidelines. All right, so it gives you guides. It gives you guidelines on what actually the viewer is going to see. Okay, so you need to keep all your important content in here. That's very important. So I'm now going to say Manage Column Background, and I'm going to select a color, and I'm going to select like a very light gray. Quite like that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to select gray, and now I want to add an image in here. So I'm going to say Change Column Background, and I'm going to select Image. And I'm going to select my image and say Change Background. All right, and there we have our image in there. Now, what I want to do is I want to actually make this image black and white, and I want to put an overlay on top of it. So how do we do that? Very easy. We click on this, and we say Settings. All right, so how do we do that? We're going to select here, we're going to go back, we're going to say Change Column Background, we're going to go back to Image, okay? We're going to hover over our image, and you can see in these three option dots, we're going to click on that, and we're going to say Crop and Edit. Now, this is going to open up your photo editing section where you can do a lot of things to photos. You can crop them, you can add any kind of enhancements to them, they give you a whole lot of options. You can do an adjustment on it, so whether you want to bring up the contrast or anything like that, and then it gives you filter options as well. So if we click on filters, we can see here, it gives you a whole lot of different options that you can do with your image, and obviously there's a black and white option as well, which I'm going to select, and I'm going to press save. Right, now I'm going to say change background. And there we have our image in black and white. Now, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go settings. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my image opacity. And I'm going to put a color behind this image. I'm going to put my gold. And I'm going to drop this image opacity so that we have a nice overlay effect, like so. Okay, I'm going to go back and probably drop it a little bit more so it's nice and strong. Okay, now we can add text over this however we want. All right, so now I'm going to go to add, and I'm going to go to my text, and we're going to add some text on top of this. We're going to say we're going to make it Avena black. So here we go. And we're going to say 5-star. We're going to make this in a charcoal color. I'm going to make this in white. Okay, so we're going to just add some text in there. Going to make the font nice and big. Let's go to our line spacing and just make it nice and tight. Extend this. Right, so we've got some text in there. We're going to make this a lot thinner, like so. And if we wanted to, we can add a line in here. So we're going to go to shape. Okay, and we can go ahead and we can add a line underneath this, like so. Change design. Let's make our line white. And we can make it a little bit thicker, like so. We can shift this up, and we can put a button underneath this, like so. And we can change the design of this so that it's white. So I'm going to go full opacity. We're going to make this button white. We're going to make the text of it gold. And then I'll hover. We're going to take that away. We're going to make our text white. Like so. We can animate this line so that it reveals in. And we can also have our button do a fade in or a drop down, but let's just keep it classy. So I'm going to go back here, we'll do a fade in, and this is how it's looking. Let's preview. Alright, so here we've got that button, and here we've got this button, we've got a button over here, and these all change. Okay, right, so now we want to add some text into here as well. So we're going to go add, and we are going to say text, and we're going to say and guys, you can make these headings really whatever you want them to be. They're not set in stone. Edit text. Let's change our color to our gold. Make sure that you're in your lines. I'm going to just bring them a bit tighter together there. I'm going to change this to white just to give a bit of variation. And I'm going to carry on with my line design. And I'm going to bring this line over here. This time we're going to make it gold, change design, customize design, gold. Awesome. And there you go. Let's press preview. Okay guys, so now we're going to go and we're going to add some text in here, some body copy. So I'm going to go add, I'm going to go I'm a paragraph, I'm going to select it, and I'm going to click Command V to add my text in there. I'm going to change the font. So add a paragraph in there. I'm going to Command C and Command V this line. Pop it at the bottom over here. And we can see we need to extend this space a little bit more. So if I'm going to do that, then I'm going to bring this and centralize it, like so. And I'm going to take this button. And you can make this button anything really. I'm just going to say contact us. And then I'm going to add a link here to my anchor, which is the contact us anchor, so that when someone clicks on this, it's going to scroll down the website to the contact us anchor over there. Okay. Now, before I carry on, guys, what I want to do is I just want to preview this. I'm going to just delete this over here. Let's go preview. All right, so this is how it's looking. Now, I'm going to just minimize this screen so I can show you guys what the website actually does. So depending on how your screen looks, the website will automatically adjust itself. So I'll show you. If we bring the screen smaller, you guys can see that everything adjusts accordingly. So that's really, really clever. Make it bigger and everything readjusts. And that's because we're keeping everything in our guidelines. Can you guys see that? All right, so keep that in mind. All right, I'm going to go back to editor. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a gallery section in here, just as a nice break. So I'm going to go add. I'm going to go to galleries. And I'm going to get a strip gallery and add a strip gallery into here like this. Right. Now, for this example, I only want one strip. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we want this to stretch the full length of the website. So I'm going to click here, which says stretch to full width. Okay, and now you can see what it's doing. It's fully stretching throughout the website. Okay, now there's no images here because there aren't enough images to carry out the whole website. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go manage media. And I'm going to delete these images. because these are just the sample images. And I'm going to say add media, add image. Alright, so I've gone and I've added some images into my gallery. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to multi-select them. And I'm going to say add to page. Then we'll have our gallery like so. Click done. Right, now I want to go in and I want to select customize layout, images per column. I want to say 1. Okay, there you go. Now I'm going to just make this a little bit smaller, like so. And now when we press preview, there we have our images in our little gallery. Okay, and you can edit this hover over as well to be whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to go back to editor. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to say settings. Then we're going to go to design, overlay and icons. And for my color overlay, I'm going to select my gold. I'm going to select my gold. And I'm also going to say what happens when someone clicks on these images. So open in expand mode. So if I go preview and someone hovers over this, now we have our gold. And if someone clicks on it, it opens a larger version of that. And we can put any kind of text in here that we want. All right, so that's looking quite nice. Now, obviously, we have our arrows over here, so we can also say what we want the slideshow to do. So if we go settings and we say settings here, advanced, we have image quality, image sharpening, which we can tick. Let's just raise that slightly so we have some really nice sharp images. And we go preview. Right, so now when someone clicks on this arrow, we can see that the slideshow moves across, which is really great. All right, so that's how it's looking. Right, now for your next section is our bio. So we've got the About Me anchor where it needs to be right over here. So now we want to move our bio section to where it needs to be. I'm going to move portfolio down. I'm going to move contact us down as well. We'll get to those later. And we'll put our bio over there. Right, now we want to add in a section for our bio. So we're going to go add. And again, we're going to go to interactive, where we can add one of these elements if we like. Or we can go ahead and we can add a strip, similar to what we did before. It can be just a strip like this, where it's just a complete solid, where we add information. So that's looking quite nice. So I'm going to just move that underneath this, like so. And I'm going to change this color, change strip background. Settings, I'm going to make it our gold, just for a nice pop. And I'm going to take our text that we have here already. Command C, Command V, bring it over here. I'm going to put this information here. I'm going to edit text and I'm going to centralize it like so. And we want to continue on with the line design that we've been using. So I'm just going to take this, Command C and Command V it. Education. Let's just make this text white so that we can see it. Education and employment. Now guys, it doesn't have to be a solid strip like this. If you want to, you can do another version of this like we've done here before with an image in one column and text in the other column. I'm just doing this centralization just to add some variety to the page. But it's completely up to you how you want to make this look. Education and employment. And we can go ahead and put another button there. Like so. And we can link that to our contact us anchor. Done. Now we're going to take our bio anchor, make sure you put it where it starts. Okay. So if we go preview and we go to our bio and we click it, it's going to take us down to that section. All right, so that's the idea. If we click the About Us, it's going to take us to the About Us section. Our bio is going to take us to our bio section. Okay. Right. Back to editor. Okay, so now the next section is going to be portfolio. So I'm going to take my portfolio anchor and I'm going to put portfolio there. Now, I think for this, let's go add. And we're going to take another one of these. Let's maybe take one that's centralized. So let's take this one. Put it underneath here like so. All right, so here it is. So now we've got three columns. We've got column 1, column 2, and column 3. So column 1, I'm just going to go change column background, color. We're going to make it that gray that we used. I'm going to delete all of these elements because we're not going to use them. And I'm just going to replace these images. So I'm going to say change column background, image. And I'm going to add in one of the images that we've used before. So maybe something like this. Okay, that's not going to work. We need a bigger one. Right, settings. We're going to change tile to original size. And we're going to say scale to fit. Okay, now we can see that image is pixelated, so that image isn't going to work. So we need to go back and we need to say change column background, settings, change column background, image. We need to choose an image that's going to be high res enough. Let's try this one. Great, that one's looking nice. Okay, this one again, we are going to do the same thing. So we're going to say, go here, change column background, image. Let's find another high res image we can use. Still quite pixelated. Cool, that one's looking nice. Now, if we want to design it up a little bit, we can keep this one color, for example, and we can go to this one, change column background. We can go to image. We can go back to the image like we did before, and we can say crop and edit. We can make it black and white. Change background. All right, there you go. So this is looking quite nice. So now we want to go ahead and we want to add some text in here. So we're going to select this. We'll say my portfolio. Let's give this some color. So again, guys, you can title this whatever you want. It's completely up to you. My portfolio and gallery. And then you guys can have a little bit of a write-up here. In this write-up, you guys can pretty much make it whatever you want. You guys can write about your work in general, your style of work, just a little bit about that in detail. And then underneath, you can have your gallery. So we can do this in a lot of ways. You can go ahead and you can add a grid gallery where you basically have your images like so. So if we preview, your pieces of work will come up. The viewer can then click on them, and you can then add an image title, and you can put a description of the piece of work in it as well. So that's going to be the easiest way to do that. Okay, I'm not going to include this section now because I don't have work to put in. So we'll just pretend that that is that section. And then last but not least is going to be your contact us. So I'm going to put my contact us anchor over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to background, and I'm going to go to color, and I'm going to pick a nice dark gray just to be the background there. And guys, if you get to the bottom of your page and you need more space, all you do is you grab this icon here where it says stretch, and you pull down, and then you shift and you pull down, and you shift and you pull down and you shift, and you'll be able to increase how wide your web page is. Okay, so you just keep moving it. It's a little bit of a mission, but if you need to create that extra space, this is how you do that. I'm going to take a button here just to put a button over here by this section. Now remember, guys, you can see I've done something wrong here. This information needs to be inside this. And I'll tell you why, because look what happens. If I make my page smaller, do you see what's now going to happen? The text is going to get lost. So if I preview this, look what's happening here. Can you guys see? This text is missing. It'll only look good if someone's using their screen this size. Okay, so look what happens when we adjust. You guys can see it's not doing it here because we did it in our parameters, but it's doing it here. So we need to go back to editor, and we need to click inside here, and we need to edit this so that it sits inside this section like so. Make this a little bit smaller. We'll centralize it by going to character and spacing. I'm going to keep my lines extended. And put them inside this bracket like so. Put them inside this bracket like so. I'm going to make my button the same size just for consistency. And this text I'm even going to make slightly smaller. Let's make it 15. That looks a lot nicer. All right. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to make this also 15. Guys, when we're doing web fonts, 15 is usually the go-to size. So keep that in mind. But it really is up to you. If you want to go a little bit smaller, you can. All right, so now if we go preview and we view our page at another size, we can see that it's adjusting really beautifully there. All right, so everything is fitting in really, really nicely. And that's looking great. And we can see if we view it on a very small screen like an iPad, it's even still giving us exactly what we want. All right. Okay. Now I'm just going up here and I'm going to change this design because now we've made our background a dark gray, which looks great, but now this blue isn't really working. So I'm going to go to design here. I'm going to go customize design and I'm going to make this text white. Okay. Now that it's white, we can definitely make this Avena light. So it's a bit more soft. Our hover, we're going to make gold, so that's all going to stay the same. All right, so that's looking, if I preview that, that's definitely looking a lot nicer. Okay, and it's kind of tying in with the charcoals and the blues. That's looking really nice. All right, so if we click on About Us, there's About Us. If we click on Our Bio, it takes us to Our Bio. If we click on Our Portfolio, it takes us to Our Portfolio. All right, back to editor. All right, so now we in our Contact Us section, we must just make sure that our let's just make sure that our Contact Us anchor is where it needs to be. And we're going to go add, and we're going to say contact forms. And you can add any contact form that you want here. So you can stylize how you want it to look, etc., etc. I'm going to grab this one over here. And I'm going to edit it now. Now, guys, obviously, like I said before, all these contact forms can be edited and changed completely. Right, so I'm going to start by going to Design, Customize Design, Fill and Opacity. I'm going to take this background completely, form background. I'm going to take this form background completely down so that we don't see it. Okay, because I'm not loving how that looks. Then we're going to go to Input Fields. We're going to raise these up. We're going to go to Text. And we're going to make these our gold. Okay? Liking how that's looking. Then what I want to do is I want to stretch this form out so that it fills up the entire space. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to stretch it out. I'm going to grab this, I'm going to stretch it out. I just like it to fill up the whole space, but it's completely up to you. So it's as easy as just stretching it like so. There you go. You guys can take these out and add your own headings in. Right, let's go back to design, customize design. Okay, so I'm liking how that's looking. Then we can click on the button and we can change how this button looks. So I'm going to make it look like the rest of our buttons. And I'm again going to stretch it out the full way. We have a little thank you message at the bottom, so I'm just going to edit that text. We want that to be gold. And we can take that now and put that in the center. Thank you for helping us make a difference. We can edit the text, obviously, to say what we wanted to say. So we can say thank you for contacting us. We will be in touch as soon as possible. We'll be in touch as soon as possible. And this little section will pop up once this has been clicked. So obviously we don't want this to say donate. So we'll say settings. And we wanted to say send now. Okay, and then we want to add in a heading, so I'm just going to take this. Contact us. And you can have a little blurb here if you'd like. I'm going to make this white. Pop it underneath there just to give it some diversity. And there you go. So if we preview, we can see this is how it's looking. Type in like that. Now we can see our fonts here are not the fonts that we want. Okay, so let's go back and let's change that. Back to editor. Let's click on here and we'll say design, customize design. Input fields text. So there we go. We have Proxima Nova as our font. We don't want that. We want Arial, we want Avena Light. So I'll select Avena Light and we can see there it's now all changed. Okay, font Futura, we're going to change that to Avena Light. Now when we preview, we can see that's looking exactly how we want it. Okay. All right, so there we have our contact us section, and we can see if we go preview and we go to the top, we click on contact us, and it takes us all the way down to the contact us page. Any of the buttons that we've linked, contact us, takes us there as well. Contact us takes us to the contact us section. Okay, and that's because we've linked all those anchors. How do you link anchors again? Very easy. You click on the button, you say link, you click on anchor, and you select which anchor you want it to link to. So we'll select contact us, and you just got to make sure that your contact us anchor is where it is, because if your contact anchor sits here, it's going to take us midway through the page and it's going to be confusing to the user. Okay. Now the last thing I want you guys to add is a map. So we're going to go add, and we're going to scroll down on the list here, and we're going to look for our maps. Alright, so it's found in more, and they give you a whole lot of different map options that you can choose from that might match your theme. I'm not finding one that's too matchy with mine, so I'm just going to pick this grayscale map. And I'm going to pop it below here, like so. And we're going to stretch it out so that it covers the full width of the site. And I'm going to stretch it so that it's nice and big, like so. And we're going to say settings, manage locations. We're going to put in our location. Right, and then we find our map and we can retitle it. Now, for this assignment, guys, you can add FEDISA if you want to as your location or your home residence. It's completely up to you. All right, there we have our map. Now, just to finish, we're going to put a footer in here as well. So for your footer, you can literally take exactly what you have here, Command C, Command V, and pop it there in your footer as well. Okay, it's important for you guys to have a footer so that if someone scrolls to the bottom of the page and they want to move around the website, they don't have to scroll all the way back to the top. All right, so let's press preview and have a look at how our website is looking. All right, Riverside Boutique Hotel. We have all of our anchors here. We have contact us. So if we click on that, that should take you to your contact page at the bottom. It's not doing it, so let's just link that. Contact us, link, anchor, contact us, done. Preview. Let's have a look. Contact us. Takes you all the way to the bottom. Okay, so I want you guys to make sure that you check your anchors, make sure that they work. Another fun thing you guys can do is adding effects to your images and columns. So if we go settings, we can see we have some scroll effects here. So I'm going to select parallax, and I want you guys to look at what that does now. So as I move down, look what this image is doing here. Can you see that the image is almost staying where it is, almost like it's behind? We call that a parallax effect. So that's a really cool element to add to your website. Just want to pick another one to show you. Change column background, settings. We can do a fade in, preview. So as we scroll, the image comes in, which is also a really cool effect. So it's grayscale, and as you move, that image scrolls in. All right, so have some fun with that. They all do different things. I'm seeing here that between my images, there's a little gray space. I don't like that, so to get rid of that, we click on it. We say settings, layout, customize layout. Spacing 5, we're going to make spacing 0. Now if we preview that again, we can see that the images are now sitting directly next to each other without a space, which is much more visually appealing. Alright, and that's pretty much it, guys. There's your website. Okay, we can see these are also working. So if we click About Us, it takes us all the way back to the top of the page, and everything is working beautifully. Alright, so guys, basically what I've done for you is a very basic one-page scroll website, which is what you guys are going to need to achieve. What I've done is I've used Riverside Boutique Hotel because I didn't want to use something too reminiscent of what you guys are going to create, which is basically a website for yourselves, because I didn't want to make it too easy for you. So you need to use a bit of creativity in how you actually put this website together. And what I want you guys to do is just remind you to go and look at some of those templates and see what is actually possible. There are a lot more different things you can do on Wix that I haven't mentioned. So if you find something, if you do a bit of YouTubing and see there's something that you want to include in your website, you're more than welcome to message me, email me, and I can let you know how that can be done. But what I've shown you today is really the basics of what you need to build this website. So I hope you guys have learned something from this tutorial. As I said before, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. And of course, I'll be willing to help you with whatever you're wanting to do. All right. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you soon.